We are live. All right, let's go. Facebook, YouTube, everywhere where this is streaming. We're going to be multi-streaming here. That's how cool of a story and journey we're going to be dropping today. There's going to be two parts to this. Number one, Cheyenne's starter story of how she kind of took this business and kind of like takes a brick and mortar, but turns the digital marketing spin into it to instead of hiring a marketing agency, she became the marketing agency. So we're going to be covering that. Also going through probably some mindset stuff through the journey about peaks and valleys of like wanting to quit, wanting to continue, wanting to quit, and then seeing no light at the end of the tunnel. So we'll cover that too, because that's part of any great success story, especially us colleagues in digital marketing. You guys out there, tell me if you feel that pain of some days wanting to quit, because I sure do sometimes. And then we just have to be mentally strong, right? So we'll cover some of that stuff too, because that's something we all don't talk about very often. But anyways, Cheyenne, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your time with us. I'm excited that you have not only a Seahawks hat on, but also to kind of share the journey with a lot of other people, so they know what's even possible. Because I feel like a lot of people have goals, but they don't have actions to achieve those goals, and they kind of just the can gets kicked down the road. So hopefully, this will serve as an inspiration to other people to kind of maybe use our logo as their own, like to get shit done. So thanks for joining us. Do you mind giving a brief background so everybody out there knows what you do and who you are?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you because, I reached out to you and said, "Hey, I'm, a part into my coaching with you for a year." And when we started that, I had very definitive plan to maximize that year with you. And I haven't done that. And so I reached out and said, "All right, I have this amount of time left, and I am missing out on huge opportunities." And every time, even when I don't have things to bring to the weekly coaching calls, I love to just get on because I'm so frankly comforted by you and Cody. Like just even hearing both of your voices and listening how you walk people through things, even though I may not have something specific, I always just get on because I know it's maybe it sounds corny, and so the guys are probably like, "Oh God," but like there's a comfort in being an entrepreneur, and especially, I'm almost a solopreneur. It's lonely and it's hard, and sometimes you feel like and it is only you. And so you're more than just the guys that are giving us, a pathway. Like you are emotional support, like you're mental and emotional support, and that is not discounted
No, I
because a lot of
appreciate that.
people are assholes and
Hmm.
you guys aren't. And I mean like and when you don't have these gigantic egos, like you're both in with all of the knowledge that you have. You still have your humility. You're both so humble, and it's appreciated. So if you don't get to hear that, I want to say that
No, I
first.
appreciate that. That's awesome. Like that means Cody needs to spike up his ego a little bit. You're getting soft over there, guy.
My biggest takeaway is that we're not assholes, so that's good. That's good to be reminded. We're good people. Good
I know,
people.
because Cody jumps on and says, "Oh, we're assholes." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, speak for yourself. I'm kind of cool over here on this side of the coin." But anyways, all right. So thank you for
You're
that so much,
asking people
Cheyenne.
to think.
Now, in terms of like, I want to set the stage for the people out there because I want to help them and hear your through the lens of your eyes of how you got going. So to give a background on what you do, and then I want to kind of go through our journey of how we met as well. But give us your.
Okay, perfect. So, a big part of my background was real estate. And so I had learned, as a real estate agent, you have to do your marketing. And so I never hired my marketing out. I always wanted to learn to do, or have someone that did the marketing that worked for me. Right. So, about 2 years ago, though, my husband, who was a contractor, had decided to step into the cabinet part of the construction process. And so I ended up joining him. So I brought kind of that background with me, and we've applied, some of the things that we did in our real estate company.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we for sure had not mastered was Facebook advertising. Um, you know, Even our videos, our unique selling proposition. Like we didn't have kind of our hook. We didn't have our offer. We didn't have those because my husband 20 years of construction, didn't even have a business card. Like he went from job to job, word of mouth, and we all know that's not scalable. In real estate, you know how like it's like, oh, I'm 100% referral. I'm like, that's not scalable.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, to the question people should be asking themselves, because we're going to hear that over and over again. And that's just the bullshit story people tell themselves, right? Because they don't have another alternative.
that's right.
It's just that the easiest question to ask any human is like, when are you getting your next referral?
Right.
I don't fucking know. So
Right.
is that a safe way to run a business? I'm not sure,
Right.
right?
No,
Um,
it's sure not predictable. You can't turn it off. You can't turn it on. You can't put more into it. You can't do anything with it except just hope it keeps coming on, right?
Yeah, I mean, the good part about referrals. It's a marketing channel that you can't rely on, but it also shows a barometer of who cares about you, that they're willing to refer somebody to you. So if you're not getting referrals, then that's an indicator of your service might not be very good. And if people are
That's
referring you, then
yes.
they're putting their name brand, their reputation on the line to say, use Cheyanne, use Cody, use anybody, right? So that's the value of the referral, is it's quote unquote in sales language, a lay down lead, really, right?
Right. Right.
Transferring trust from one person to another. But going back to the beginning, you found us
Yep.
through a Google search. You found one of our blogs about kitchen cabinets, and I remember the first call with you. You sent me a picture of a pig instead of signing up for the Diamond Club. I remember that. But you're the first person where, like, I know, like, one of the first people or a few people that I've told, don't hire us as to do your marketing for you. I'm like, why don't you just learn this stuff and not pay people like us all this boatloads of money for the rest of your life? Because if you run a
Right.
business and you don't have a marketing agency, then you're going out of business for the most part. But if you do have a marketing agency, you're going to churn through them because the business owners aren't always educated on what marketers do, or the marketers aren't good enough to communicate properly, right? Good
Right.
communication has to be on those sides of the coin. So I said, just learn the shit, and then you bought the Diamond Club. So I guess my real question comes down to is like, you had just met us and we're a stranger over the phone and we're sending text messages. Like, considering you didn't know us, you had hired other people before us, and you probably didn't necessarily trust us even. Like, what made you go ahead and just start anyways?
Um, I mean, for sure, like you and I had a little bit, and then Cody, I think what really got it, you both were so consistent at staying on top of us, and we're just so responsive, and it was pretty authentic. It wasn't salesy. And you're right, we didn't know you. I mean, and there's a lot of coaching things out there for businesses. So I think you remember this, we had hired another company. It was a 16-week program, and they kind of got us started in this, and we had some modest success. Like, I think it really got us into that Facebook advertising, but we took it to just a whole different level when we came. So I think we had like this low foundation that we knew Facebook marketing could work for us. I don't think that we tapped into the power of it with them. So, we knew that at least that opportunity was out there. And I think just in what you did, both of you, your personalities, like, well, obviously I think we put a little bit of faith and trusted that it would. And then, we did the 4 months with you, which was one of your packages, or, one of your opportunities. And obviously we loved it so much, we continued on. So.
Yeah, so like when you were starting with us, I remember like you were in and around like the $40,000 a month range. At that particular range, like, how was the feeling and the aura of the business being at that stage?
You know, that can sound like a lot of money, but it actually, when you're in a business, that isn't a lot of money. And I mean, and it was enough to, kind of take care of the bills and stuff, but it wasn't enough. And I don't even think we had an idea of what we really wanted. I don't even know if we really knew even what enough was for us. And what you find, or I think at least what we found, is that movie Money Never Sleeps.
Hmm.
Like, remember he says that. He's like, I can't remember how he asked it. If he says, how much is enough, or how much do you want, or no, that's what he said. How much is enough, or what's your number, right? Remember what he says? He's like, more, which is such a, kind of a dick comment, but I think it's not necessarily about having more because, we're older and like, but neither of us care about like stuff anymore. But it's just like, it's more getting the work easier. And it's, it is, I don't know, like having the freedom to pick your clients and not having to just accept a client because there's so much good good opportunities coming through. We have enough opportunities that we don't feel like there for sure isn't a scarcity. So while the numbers have for sure gone up, and I know we're going to talk about where our numbers kind of where were and where they are and where we're even heading, it's more that like we can breathe and just go, you know what? They were kind of squirrely. I'm not sure we want to get into contract with them. But because we know there's literally like tomorrow we'll have 3 more leads, one
Mhm.
more person's going to walk through the front door tomorrow.
That's such a beautiful
That's,
feeling to
that's
have
freedom.
predictability and choice. Yeah, because a lot of people are offering out of hunger and desperation. And when you chase, like we used to say this when I used to work on a sales floor 20 years ago. Um, if you chase money, it's gonna run. And if you let money come to you, it'll chase you down where you have no choice. That's just having like a good sales process.
Right.
Because when you run out of opportunities, you have no choice but to zone in on the only 2 people that have ever said, I'm interested, and you just hound them like you're a stalker. And that's easier way to lose the deal um, than anything is just be super, super desperate. But no, I love the fact that your transition from like the 40K to getting to where we are now. So we'll kind of dive into the numbers, like if you don't mind sharing, like what's
Sure.
like the peak numbers and then the average numbers that you guys are seeing like in this like year we've been working together.
Right. So, we were like 40 to 50. We even like every once in a while we would hit a month like 60 or 70,
Hmm.
right? Like we had a few of those months. But I looked back actually after you and I talked and we were just shy of 200. I think that was November of last year. It was either November or December that we hit that. And which is, that's a big jump.
It's a lot. It's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of chatter. So
It
now,
is.
what are some of the things? Like now, I want to kind of go into a little bit of like advice to the audience of what they could be doing. So like, because you've been through the ringer of trial, error, try this, try that, and you found your rhythm. And it's a natural entrepreneur journey, but when it's precision and precise, it's a lot faster. Like, what are those? What are some of the key needle movers that have helped you go from that 40,000 to a $200,000 month?
So that we took so I had some pretty significant video coaching. It was really just around video marketing, right? And that was in my real estate career, and that was with someone that just did that with real estate agents. So we took the rapid fire testing, the images, the offer that you guys help us put together, that we were getting leads, right? I mean, we were for sure getting business, getting leads. And all we did was just take the messaging and I remember Cody and I worked through that in one of the content calls on a Wednesday. And all we did is just transfer those image ads into a script concept, right? And I mean, I didn't even do it well. We've talked about this before. Like there was no makeup, there was no prep. It was just went into the shop back there, held up, not a selfie, sticky, just hold my phone and just said basically what Cody had helped put together for like that message. And it was short, like 45 seconds, wasn't a long video. And it just whoosh.
That's amazing. I mean, Lululemon would probably pay like 250 grand for a 15-second video, right?
Literally.
And in this case, like you're making $200,000 off like simple videos that can like that'll always like be an asset of value on the internet because
It's
there's no limit on the
crazy.
views that can happen once it becomes a banger and starts picking up that trend.
Right,
So you never know which the whole moral of this story for everybody sitting out there is like if you didn't have that tweak, you don't get that result. So that one tweak could be worth, with hindsight, obviously, because now we know the predictable outcome. That's a
right,
$200,000 tweak. Now,
right.
do you think in your mind, if Cody said, "Hey, now that you've made 200 grand, What if I can guarantee you another 200, but it's going to cost you $100,000?
Right.
Would you split that with us now that you know, or we
Right.
just don't give it to you and you figure it out alone, right? So now we have evidence, right? So we know the system is going to work, and that's the point with you guys out there is like you guys got to find your offer, your rhythm, because you're marketers, and if you're not selling your offer, you're a shoemaker with no shoes, right?
Right.
Like you like because like I love it when I see marketers out there, and this is how I beat a lot of people out there with a simple line, is like a lot of marketers don't market themselves, so I use that against them. Like it's interesting that marketing agencies will accept your money and say that's good enough to advertise, but they wouldn't dare spend their own,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
so I put a cloud over anybody who doesn't market themselves head. And then the customer has to make a decision. Oh, you're right. Well, that doesn't make sense. They take my money but won't use their own. So those are some
Right.
things that we use there. But anyways, going back to your business, I want to go into like so Cheyanne owns a kitchen cabinet place. It's amazing. If you're in South Carolina or anywhere, she'll help you. But you got to be a buyer. Don't waste your time. And then two is the reason I wanted to have her on here is she's turned like I know she owns a brick and mortar. There's a lot of work behind it, a lot of money in it. But those of you guys that are selling to home services or any industry, the impact of knowing the stuff that you guys can learn at the fingertips from either us or somebody like us, preferably us, is that you can now go sell this to other people because now you know what it's worth. And now what she did is now she's teetered herself up, which a lot of business owners are lazy. They don't want to learn this stuff because it is work. It is a skill set. But once you own the skill set, you own the knowledge, you can take it to another level. And then you can start any business you feel like with these newfound skills and make money off of it from anywhere.
Right.
Right. And now that's where we're going to transition. Like Cheyanne and I's conversation is, well, I'm so good at what I do for myself. How do I now sell this to people like me? Her audience and evidence is already built in, right? So now if she copied and pasted her 200,000 or 100,000 or whatever number it is, franchise of marketing into another business, what would people pay for that? I mean, because like, what does a McDonald's cost? Right? I don't know what it costs. Maybe, but what's the break even point? 4 years or so before they see a dime of profit? With
It's
now
a
look
lot.
at what you yeah look at what you could do to a home services company, like another contractor in California or wherever, a competitor. It doesn't really matter. I mean, knowing that this could make $250,000 or $1 million a year, now we have a real franchise we can sell.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now it's
Yes.
just like taking the swagger and evidence and confidence that you're so good at yourself taking care of your own business. Now you can just say, like, it's so good. I'm doing it for myself. I'm going to do it for you too.
Right.
So I wouldn't cut off my nose to spite my face, and I wouldn't do that to you either.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just a natural progression. And then we have two revenue pools. One, she can literally sit it in the showroom, talk to a competitor for 30 minutes, and if they're interested, they can pay tens of thousands of dollars for it. And then in the meantime, sell some more fucking cabinets.
Right.
So
That's the plan.
you know
That's
what
the
I
plan.
mean? So I mean we could probably have with a very passive method of selling is honestly like another like I don't know, I'd say 150 to 250,000 per year in packaging this up and selling it at high ticket so you don't deal with tire kickers.
That's where we're going.
Yeah. I didn't mean to
And
make
I'm
this I
excited about
wanted to make this more about you. I ended up starting to do a little bit of coaching
no, no, no,
and
no. I
getting you
mean,
going.
I mean, this was our plan, right? Is that we knew kind of from even when we started with you, like that was even the first time we started with you, that I knew that I wanted to get the skill set down so that I could move into a coaching role, you know. And it's not because I don't like, you know, selling cabinets. I mean, that's completely fine, but um you know, we are a brick and mortar, which geographically keeps us in a one spot, and I'm not sure I want to be, you know, I want that opportunity. Coaching would allow me to have some, you know, no geographical restrictions.
Yeah, travel.
Well, let's
That's
not say no, but you know, at least wherever we could have an internet connection, right? Or a good internet connection that we
100%.
but it's and this what you and I talked about yesterday. So making that transition, and is it okay? Like, can I talk about some of my fears,
Yeah,
like
100%.
just
So
because
this is anything goes.
because my fears are holding me back. And I'm sure if I'm having, I'm not the only one that's having them. So hopefully this does help someone um, I think I've always been, when I've been good at what I've done, it's because it's true. And what I mean by that, it's like, it's real, it's authentic. I'm not pretending to do or be something that I'm not. And while I know that, what we've done and what we've done with you, and I can look at my profit and loss, and, I know the kind of, I don't see it being a packageable service yet, right? To coach someone. So because I have that, let's call it limiting belief, fear, whatever it is, like I don't feel like, and I'm not, and not, that's not natural to me because like
Mhm.
I will pull the trigger. I'm an imperfect action taker, ready, fire, aim. That's for
Mhm.
sure. That's like my thing. But in this situation, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, I don't know what it is, but I've been scared, right? To just pull the trigger and do something.
Well, let me
And
ask you this question
amazed.
about that comment. Because like let's just say there's a struggling kitchen cabinet company out there, and all they needed
Yeah,
was leads, and all they said was like, "Hey, I need help, I need help, I need help." And then you say, "You know what? Because I don't feel like I'm ready to help, I can't help you." Like think about
right,
that though that person's probably thinking. They're like, "Well, what do you mean you're not ready to help? You run the ads, you have the landing page, you have the text message, you have the sales process, you have the design process, you have how to do a quote, you have how to close a deal. Why can't you just tell me even if it's not written down?" Right? So think about that person that you could be putting out of business. So I kind of flip it on its head. It's like an obligation that I have to do it because when you break those things down, the more money you make, the more problems you're going to self-create, and you can have more self-doubt than you did when you started because now your goals are so much loftier, right?
right,
You buy
right,
more fancy things, the steak is more expensive.
right,
So it's natural to have more problems because you want your lifestyle to shift so much.
right,
But I always think that way. If I don't make and like if I feel like this person can be helped, I have no choice but to offer something,
right,
right? Rather than do I want to, do I not want to? I don't let emotion or a tiredness or a feeling make that prediction. It's that person does. And there are people who are not good for what we do, and we just don't, we can't help them. So we just say, like, hey, like go to a different doctor. Like we're just not the
right,
right doctor,
right.
right?
Well, and I think that's where you and I are, is really to see like what is my initial offer? Like how can I help them best? And for me, it's I have to have something that I can just launch, even if it's super small, right? And that's I mean, I have for sure gotten in my own way for that. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. Like we got to just get this and it's
Yeah.
gonna be action.
Here's how I think is going to be helpful. Number one, I already know your offer. I just have to give you 6 bullet points, and I can already see it already happening, right? It's not going to be an over offer and everything and all the juice with all the lime and all the squeezes. It's going to be like we're going to get you to this level because that's what's missing.
Right,
It's going to be offer and
right,
lead gen. That's it. The ops, the systems, leave that on the table for later complexity for a level two. And then we'll dialogue that of like what's included, and then just like when I was starting my company and just getting started, I had the same self-doubts. I was confident behind a phone, but I wasn't confident in person. And my dad would force me to go to a conference with him to help me sell my own product. So what he did was my wingman. So he'd say, "Hey, meet." He didn't say my son. He would say my name. Meet Rahul. He does this stuff here. I think it can benefit you. Why don't you see if it's an opportunity? So he would just do that to strangers, and then we'd just get into a conversation, and I'm like, holy shit, that actually helped. Now I feel like I can do this alone because it's that easy. Now that's what I'm willing to do with you is like, hey, we'll get the package down. I'll call a couple cabinet companies with you. I'm like, hey, look, we got something cooking. I'm on with a owner of a cabinet shop over in South Carolina that's really cooking, and I want her to be able to share her insights of how she got from here to here in this time frame. Would you be willing to listen to this? And if it's something that she can help with, maybe she can consult for you guys and make it really profitable and economical to start.
yeah, I love that.
right?
Yeah, that's
Because
awesome. Yeah,
like why would somebody say no to that?
right,
Like even if it's a cold call, I think
right,
that's where I think that's why I don't think cold calls is a bad thing, and a lot of people don't do them. It's because they have a shit angle in the door, you know?
right,
Like
right.
they think their job is to sell something when their job is to just introduce yourself to a stranger, just like ordering coffee at Starbucks from a stranger. It's just a conversation.
Right. That's right. Well, and I actually love cold calls and I've done thousands and thousands of them. So that would not be that would not be out of my comfort zone by any
Yeah,
means. Yeah.
and it's a quick way to get evidence of failure or success rather than blow
Yeah.
money on ads. And you can call 100 people. You can't get 100 inbound leads unless you spend 50, 60 grand or something
Right. Right.
to get that evidence and that stress test down, right? So all it is
Right.
a quick like a bar rescue. They fill the house, find the gaps and all the problems. That's all we do with cold calling is just saying, here, we'll just show you our kimono, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
And let's just see where it goes and help me product improve so I can capture the attention of other people.
Right. Well, the other thing is and just going through other coaching programs, like even your coaching program, right?
Hmm.
Like you all of your training videos and they're all organized and like you have all that stuff set up. So in the back of my mind, like I'm like, I don't have any of that set up. I don't have anything that's training. I don't have.
One thing, comparison is going to be the enemy of success. Don't compare
Yeah.
to shit. Because I told you yesterday, my very first student I sold into GSD, I had nothing. The very first thing we just did was a Facebook Live together with a group of 10. That first video became our first piece of content. And we had to understand the room. What do you want? Who are we attracting? What do we need to make? Then we recorded during that week a couple videos and we're like, oh, phew, we got some content in there. It's more valuable. Not really, because they want the live stuff with us, because that's where you can watch the on demand like Netflix and the reruns, which I like people to do, but where you're going to make the money, make the transitions, make the outcomes is this call. Get the baseline knowledge, get clarity, go do.
Right. Okay. Hmm.
Because if you just want to be an internet course, then be another 497, 997
Oh yeah,
person.
and
Right.
I for sure don't want to do like honestly, I love your format, right? You and I've talked about that with just the week or the daily offerings, I like to call it.
Well,
And
like I said, like when you're doing this startup, we did this one day a week. Don't copy us because we're further ahead and we have a team doing this. This is going to be you as a
right.
solopreneur. So the
Yep.
way we designed this business is not in comparison to what we do, what anyone does. It's in comparison to what is the lifestyle you want to live. So the product we build, you're not building a jail cell around yourself, because a lot of people are
Okay.
building jail cells right now and they're their own decision makers. In this case, it's like, I want to travel. I want this free time. This is when I want to work. This is the money I want to make. Now we got the lifestyle we want. Now let's build the business underneath the lifestyle so you don't resent the thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, that's our plan, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm putting together for you, which is really it's the accountability too. Like this, that was the other thing I said. I'm like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put together the things that I need to get done. And not that you have to call and check in on me, but it's me showing up to the daily calls that you do, bringing my things, saying, okay, this is what I said I would do. This is what I got done. This is what I didn't get done. This is where I am, and bringing those. And so there's accountability only in that I know that I can bring it into whatever that specific, call topic is that day or, within our coaching. And I mean, I think that's a great model. I've actually not really been in a coaching that allowed that. And I see how powerful it is on so many levels. And it just like me telling you, like just getting on and not even having a question, but just hearing your voices, hearing other people's challenges, opportunities, successes, frustrations. Like it is that community to that checks or that scratches a lot of, or itches a lot of, or scratches a lot of itches.
Mhm. Yeah, because I mean, like that's the best part about not having any sort of question, because when you hear other people's, it answers questions that you didn't even know to ask.
Right,
Two, it's also feels somewhat good that other people are in the situation of frustration too. Not good, but it feels validated, right? Like, oh,
right,
it's okay to feel this way, because that's not frustration is typically in the brain kind of thinking like, I don't want to do it. It's causing overwhelm. Look at the other way. It's like you have bigger visions, you have goals, you have dreams. This is just a speed bump. If you had a speed bump, are you going to drive over it or stop and get a brand new car? Right?
Right.
It's like if we look at analogies like that, it's illogical to stop and say, "Oh my God, I can't drive my car over. Let me walk over and go buy a new vehicle." That's how
Right.
stupid of a saying it is really stupid. Hearing it should sound even stupider, but that's what people are doing. Oh my God, it doesn't work. Holy shit, this is overwhelming and frustrating. No, it's not. It's just a speed bump. Drive right over that motherfucker. You know? That's really
Right.
what it comes down to. It's just a choice. But then, like you said, community is so important because like we've been lucky, Cody and I can speak for myself more than I can speak for Cody, though, is I've been around businesses my entire life. And somehow when I was a baby, being in boardrooms, that was my daycare, was going with my parents to whatever meetings they were going to. Something must have been taught in my head because I didn't understand it until I started my business. I never understood networking. I never understood making new friends. I never understood any of that until I started my business. I'm like, okay, so who knows you too? So all that shit I learned subliminally in that education and being born into this family kind of came out. That's why like we've worked with thousands of businesses ourselves and then public companies. So we've congregated a lot of information that we've kind of condensed down to if I started over, here's what I would do again type things for the starters. And then the
Right.
intermediate people, it's like, all right, we already know your bottleneck before you even open your mouth, most likely. And we
Right.
just have the answer. We just have to be patient to know that whatever we say back is in alignment with the prescription that's going to get the solution. And then the
Right.
advanced people, it's just a matter of like advanced people, the only problems there, a lot of problems they're going to have is hiring, firing, SOPs, and expand market expansion. So like we kind of understand the three stages of people of where they are. So if anybody's in a stuck stage, we kind of can help coach you out of that and kind of enlighten you to see what's on the other side and that kind of like different perspective. Because even for me, I thought someone was behind me. Even for me, like when I was saying this to my sales manager yesterday, I need outside eyes on my business because I'm in the trees and bushes myself. But when I go to any other person's business or restaurant or somebody doing hundreds of millions of dollars, I can see the gaps so clearly they don't see because I'm a neutral perspective. So
Right.
that's why you can't the hardest person to give yourself advice is the person if you cause the problem, you can't create your own advice.
Right.
That's the easiest way to look at it.
Well, I we just went to a opening of or a grand opening for one of our countertop providers, the wholesaler. And there was a gal that was in there and she goes, "You're all over my reels." And I was like, "Oh," and she goes, "No, I mean literally, like every time I go, like you're all over my reels." And I hear that 2 or 3 times a week. A client will call me, Cheyanne, you're everywhere. I'll run into someone and they're like, "I know you." Like literally, I'll just be out and they're like, "You're the cabinet person." You're like, and when you think about, I mean, we're not in a tiny little place. I mean, we're not in a like, LA, but we're in Charleston. So, it's almost 1 million people. And to have, to hear that on such a low budget, that's, I mean, we're not spending that much money.
But look how simple that is, folks in the audience. Look how simple that is. She's known as a brand, a local brand celebrity in Charleston. It's a big city. I mean, there's a reality TV show around it so big.
Right.
Right?
Right. No, no,
So,
no.
so,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I mean, look how simple it is. Once you have those skills, you weaponize those skills. You have iron sharpening iron. I mean, the world changes. Like you look better in the mirror all of a sudden, right? Your confidence gets bigger, right? I mean, your goals go from, I don't want to say this inappropriate and offend anybody, but being a little bitch to all of a sudden being a monster you always had inside of you. Right. Because I always look at that myself, like in every decision I try to make, and I might be weird or unique, but I don't want to be. I think everybody has this in a version of themselves in other aspects of life. But like even as simple as running on a treadmill, and I'm just half-assing it. All I look in the little reflection through the screen if there's no mirror behind the treadmill, and I'm like, why are you being such a little bitch? running so slow? And then I crank it up half a mile or half a mile
Right.
per hour, right? So it's just like
Right.
it's always kind of pushing yourself at some point. So my point being is the tenacity, once you unlock the business aspect, it comes out in other areas. If you're already good at athleticism, push it into business and then push it into family, then relationships, then wealth and consciousness and all that kind of stuff to be more balanced in life. But I'm a perfect imbalance type of person where it's like if I got my money right, I know that the reduction of the stress levels and all those other aspects is just easier because if I'm broke and I have to also have a wife, a kid, and a dog, it's fucking
Right.
frustrating.
Right.
If I am broke and I have to go to a W-2 job, that's frustrating. But
Right.
if I take care of the money, sacrifice a bunch of things, do what I got to do and get resourceful, solve the money thing, then I have time for the relationship. I don't have stress. I don't have to think about what's in the bank account, how late are bills, how many credit cards can I get approved for to max them all out, right? The dynamic shifts, wisdom kind of creeps through once you have the cash flow because it's not that it can buy you happiness, it's the vehicle to do whatever you want.
That's right. Well, and it's just one thing, we were talking before we got on here that, we have a lot of things going on just in our,
Mhm.
that's like, we have a lot of mountains in our life right now. And so if you could have one thing that isn't this mountain, it does give you the energy and the resources and the mental capacity to go to those other mountains until you have less. And sometimes that's where you just have to get your win. And I can say that, like, leads is not our mountain anymore, right? Like, both my husband, and what's so great is even my husband, I can see the calm in him. Like, he knows we got this dialed in, right? Like, all we have to do, turn it on, change up the video, maybe throw a little more money to it, right? Like, it's such a small tweak, and sometimes it's no tweak at all. Sometimes it's just freshen up the video, right? Which are truly no production, no anything, just what's the message. So um that is, but now it's time to move on, right? Like now, so and that's where kind of you and I are coming into this, like, we're going to refine our sales process. Now we're going to refine, the design process. Like, we're going to get this where it's written down, refined, because this is truly what I want to bring to these businesses, because we started with the leads, and really the leads cover, to your point, the money, right? Because even if none of this other stuff is working or is right or is whatever, like, if the money's coming in at some point, then you can hire the talent. Like, we just hired our lead designer.
Mhm.
And because we know 100% we have plenty of business. And now Chip and I can work on, some of these other things, which is what we're doing next with you.
I love it.
So,
Yeah, so just to recap the journey, $40,000, 200,000 to $200,000 months. We got a predictable lead funnel coming in. So it's kind of like a water faucet. Turn it off. I'm sorry, turn it on, slow it down. We don't want to turn it off, so we want to turn it on. And if we have too many, we slow it down. We're now going to be improving the sales process even more to monetize the lead database without humans. We're going to use some technology, some AI, and also human capacity. We're going to get super strategic, creative in the sense of maybe some manual gifting ideas that I haven't even told you about yet that I already know
mhm.
will work. We just have to test
Okay.
it. It will work. It'll be profitable. I just don't know how quickly it will take, but it'll be some direct mail shit to the leads that I've already done before and I know it works. Um, and then we're just gonna be super strategic because a lot of people find something working and then they try to find a new shiny object and then dismantle what already worked. All we're doing is creating a building and then calling it new stories and new stories. We're not eliminating story two and saying we're going
Right,
into this different world. We're creating a skyscraper effect within the business. It's just the pony got stronger, right? It's ready for the races. We're ready to
right.
triple crown it, right?
Right. No, it is, and it actually feels really good and it's really easy to get shiny,
Mhm.
shiny syndrome or shiny object syndrome. And Honestly, I haven't at all. And it was really hard in real estate. It's thank God in our business and in cabinets, there's not a ton of shiny objects, which is really nice because that's a killer. That's a
Yeah.
killer of because there are so many things and maybe that's, I know you and I are going to work on this, but really that is our, like, if of all the things that we do, like my thing really should just be video because that is the thing that I just feel like it has been so simple and it wasn't overwhelming. It didn't take lots of stuff. And it is now, gosh, we're almost a year with it. It's not a fluke,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No,
So
100%.
and that as I'm just sitting here saying that, like, that's kind of been my roadblock, like, oh, I need to give them this and they need to have this and they need to have this. No, if all of they did was just could figure out how to get confident or comfortable in front of a video or in front of a camera and put together a video, and understand rapid fire testing and doing some of those things, right? Like get that down, do that for 6 months, 8 months, don't do anything else, dial that in, then you get to graduate, Yoda.
I love it. Well, thanks for giving them advice in the audience. I mean, the three pillars that are the unicorns, the mystical unicorns here are the offer, the traffic, and the sales. The rest of the delivery, the SOPs, that comes afterwards. You don't need to have a great delivery process today if you're a digital marketer. You need a dope offer that people give a shit about, that they're curious to even inquire or talk to or buy. You need to have the traffic so you can get the eyeballs on it and the sales process to be able to convert it over the line. Those are the
Right.
three main elements, the hardest three elements to launch, but we'll simplify it for you. If you guys want to reach out to me, just drop me a hashtag GSD or just drop me a DM. A mod will be in the chat right now on the Facebook Live wherever we are streaming on YouTube. But let's give Cheyenne some love for spending our time. Do hashtag cabinets because in case you don't know how to spell Cheyenne or give your best way of spelling it. So either hashtag Cheyenne or hashtag cabinets to show some appreciation and love. And I appreciate it as always, like coming on today, spending your time, sharing the journey. The conversation turned into a little bit different of an angle that we've done on spotlight interviews, which I'm glad people got to see a little bit of like coaching and just authentic conversation here
Yeah.
which is always the case with us, but it went in a different angle. So hopefully it was helpful for you guys in the audience. So let me know where you're stuck, and we can definitely shovel you on out of there fairly quickly, rather than just staying stuck in the mud and quicksand. Because if I got my hand here and you're stuck in quicksand, would you grab my hand? Right. So now the ball and the decision is in somebody else's court, meaning yours. That if you book a call or talk to our team, there's two things that will not happen. One, you won't die by talking to us. Number two, you won't get pregnant. Okay. But number three is you will actually get some value out of it. Lo and behold, we'll give you a coaching call. Anyways, that's free on me. Anybody who takes it up, we'll talk to you soon. Shannon, thanks again for coming out.
Thanks,
Any
Ron.
last words of wisdom for the audience, like somebody who's like new, getting started, or anything, like any tips of success that you want to give somebody out there that wants to grow their business?
Just start. Just start. Doesn't have to be even close to perfect. And just stay consistent and keep doing that thing because especially if others have proven it and they've done it, it means it works. You may have not found out exactly how to make it work yet, but stay with it because that's what happens is, we have such short time expectations or short expectations of how long things should work for whatever reasons maybe it was the last few bucks that we spent on it. So it's got to work and, or we're just impatient or shiny object, whatever. Don't stick with it. Force yourself to stick with it, and refine it and perfect it, really before you move to that next thing. I feel like I'm 56 and I feel like I've finally really just done that with this process,
I love it.
with this video thing. Yeah.
I love it. I'm glad we got to witness the journey as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been good. Thanks,
Awesome.
Rahul.
All right, GSD fam, we are out. Drop some love in the comments, smash the heart button, hashtag replay, hashtag live. Tag somebody that needs to see this. I mean, they need the help, they need the inspiration. It's an inspiring story to be able to have a dynamic change from the beginning to where we are now. So the journey's just started.